Good job, guys, with you just after Hell in a Cell 2020. Wow, pretty eventful show. For the first time ever, 3 cell matches on the same night. Thought the matches delivered. Don't know that I needed to see 3 of them, but they delivered. Ryan and Nick, the job guys, alongside you tonight. Nick, just right out of the gate, man. Thought it was a pretty good show. What do you think? Do you have a letter grade you can give us?
I enjoyed most of the show. I would probably go in today's era, dealing with the shows of today. I'd probably give it a B minus, somewhere in there. I enjoyed the show. Thought it was a quality pay-per-view considering the era we're in and the pay-per-views we have been getting over the last couple of years.
Not enough cinematic matches for me lately, Nick. Pretty disappointed in that, but we did have 3 cell matches. Yeah, by the way, I thought of that during this show, that I can remember. I don't think we've had a cinematic match since whatever the Swamp match was on in July, Extreme Rules. I think since they've gone into the Terror Dome here, no cinematic matches. So, all right.
Yes,
good job, guys.
Good, thanks.
Crazy finish. I didn't see the finish exactly coming. Not the way it happened anyway. We got a new Universal Champion. We will get to that at the end, but let's start right at the beginning. Because they have 3 cell matches, right out of the gate, we get Roman Reigns taking on Jey Uso in a Hell in a Cell I Quit match.
The Tribal Chief.
This one ends when Jimmy finally comes down. Jay wouldn't respond. They were trying to stop the match. Looked like we were going to get our 3rd straight Hell in a Cell match. It didn't end, the way it was supposed to end. I was getting really upset about that. It does end. Jimmy ends up getting whatever move put on him, whatever they're calling that move. Jay then quits. A lot more happened after that. Fonseca come out. They put the lay on Roman, declaring Roman the tribal chief. Thought that was a good touch. Nick, go ahead, man. Anything you want to say about that match?
Well, going in, I thought the hardest thing was going to be, how do you make this match interesting, right? He's already murdered this guy at the last pay-per-view.
He didn't acknowledge me.
You can't believe in your head. I believe 99.9% of us did not think Jay was winning this match.
No.
So how do you make this match interesting? And I think they did a fairly good job at that. With the leather strap part, I thought was really good. The verbiage that was coming out of both of them, the beatings with it, they both really seemed into it. Roman gave a couple looks a couple times too, like just his facial expressions, like, what are you doing, man? You just stay down. I really thought it was a really good match.
Roman's
great,
to think, man.
There was a couple. I didn't like the ref saying constantly, like, asking Jay to quit. Like, Are you going to quit, man? Come on and quit. Like, the ref was almost taking sides. But I got over it. It was okay.
He wouldn't acknowledge me.
It was weird. Thank goodness what you said. I thought the match was just going to end with Roman passing out, and they were going to say we don't have a winner, no contest. And I'm still not happy about that part, because I feel like regardless of what the rules are in any match, if a guy passes out to lose consciousness, the match should be over.
Yeah.
I don't understand how it keeps going, but okay, we're in the wrestling world. And I think they justified it a little bit when they did it right back to Jay.
Right.
Where he passed out then too, kind of saying now that they've each passed out. Still wasn't big on that. The ending I thought was good. How Jay said I quit to save his brother. I don't know if I would have went about it and did it the way he did, with Roman crying a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have had Roman threatening to smash Jimmy with the stairs, and then Jay says I quit because I don't know. the way they went about it was a little iffy. I'll still take it. I thought it was a good match. Roman, this angle has been great from the start.
The tribal chief.
I thought the tribal leader thing at the end was a little weird. I guess those guys are heels too. I thought they would be disgusted at what they saw Roman do to Jey, but they anointed Roman as the chief. You're bringing in a couple more of the family. Keep fingers crossed. Hopefully,
the tribal chief.
The Rock is on his way.
Right.
What do you do with this guy now? We can't possibly fight Jey again, but a good match. I thought it was a good end to that story. Now maybe the Usos join him.
I would think maybe that's where you're going.
Do a flip themselves as well. We'll have to wait and see.
I gotta think maybe that's where they're going there. I liked it. I am getting a little worried, and it happened again later in the night in darn near every match. First few times they did this, it was awesome, and that is the verbiage in the ring. And especially with Roman, they've done it in every single one of Roman's matches where they're telling the story by literally telling the story. He's cutting promos on Jey during the match. Stay down. I'm the chief. Say my name. All this kind of stuff.
The tribal chief.
It was sweet when they first started doing it. And it's still cool, but they're doing it in every match now, where you get the camera super close and you hear them talk and they talk and they talk and they talk.
His brother acknowledged me.
They're going to end up killing this if they keep doing that. Classic WWE. If it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. So they're getting a little too much on that.
The tribal chief.
When he started crying, it was obvious he was going to turn on him, but I don't know. Maybe we weren't looking. They distracted us, and he put something in his eyes or something. But he looked like he was really crying. So that was cool. I'm like, okay, where are we going here? And then he throws Jimmy into that guillotine, and Corey Graves is like, oh, my gosh, he's just had knee surgery. Now he's in the guillotine. Get him out. Did they repair his ACL through his neck? What does that have to do with his knee? Well,
announcing was bad all night.
And I fully expect Jimmy should be back soon. Unless he had some kind of complication. He tore his ACL at the beginning of April. This is the end of October. Been over 6 months. I don't know when he had his surgery, but I've had that surgery. He should be close to being back. And I don't think he'd be doing the stuff he was doing if he wasn't ready to be back. So I think Jimmy and Jey may join. Maybe they don't want to, but they do. Then maybe further down the line, then The Rock comes back, knocks some sense into him, and then the whole family turns on Roman. I don't know. But I think that's probably where they're going. I like the Alpha and Sika thing. Didn't bother me. Obviously, Sika is Roman's dad, so he's going to be with Roman. When Alpha's Alpha, that's his boy. So I thought that was cool, man. I didn't have any problem with this Roman dude.
The tribal chief.
This guy, they have turned him into the freaking Sith leader here, dude. He is all in on this thing. You thought maybe with the crying a little bit, and I say Sith leader, like he had like a Darth Vader moment. Like he knew what he did was wrong, but it's too late now. He can't go back now. He has to keep going. And then he continued. I thought that was sweet. I thought it was awesome.
Like he was conflicted. You really felt like, dang, man, like I don't want to do, but me being the champion is more important than my family to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the heel aspect of it. Like it does. I get it. Your blood, but I will murder you to keep this title.
And he's saying he's the breadwinner for the family.
Yep.
If it's not me, the whole family goes down. So if I have to knock one member of the family out, all the rest of them are going to be fine.
I think it's going to take a lot. This may upset some people. He's Wrestler of the Year.
Acknowledge
in my opinion right now. I know he's been out the majority of the year, but this has been a really bad year. couldn't say I care. And I'll talk maybe about the other people I think maybe on this show that could rival that. But he certainly he's got to be considered. This heel turn is the greatest thing in wrestling today.
It's not even close. And, and we're going to talk about it, but a lot of people loved the Sasha Bayley match, and it was a great match, and we'll get into it. But their whole feud has been terrible compared to Roman. I mean, he is far and above. He's the best thing on either channel. And don't tell me about any stupid dinners, and don't tell me about any promos going on over there. This is incredible. And tonight may have been the best. I mean, he made you hate him today. It was awesome, man. Moving on. We have a match just built really a couple days ago. It is Jeff Hardy.
His name is Jeff Hardy.
Against Elias, who put on a concert the other night, and Hardy interrupted it, blah, blah, blah. So now they're feuding. Now, this feud makes zero sense, Nick.
I have it written down right here. Yes.
It makes no sense.
Because it's built on a false premise.
It's built on a false premise that Hardy was drunk driving.
Guys, the beer's on ice.
Put Elias out for 6 months. Well, if it was true, Jeff would be in jail.
But didn't we already go through this with Sheamus? He wasn't the or at least was set up in some way.
Sheamus set him up, but he got out. He got arrested and was let out by the end of Smackdown that night. We knew within 2 hours that he didn't do it. He would be in jail for vehicular manslaughter. Attempted.
His name is Jeff Hardy.
What are we doing here? Where's Sheamus? Why aren't you beating him up? Anyway, whole premise was stupid. The end was ridiculous. They needed to keep both guys hot because Elias just came back, so you had a DQ finish. Get out of here. Well, Nick, what do you think?
I don't know what Jeff Hardy. I mean, the guy, great tag team run, historically one of the top 10 tag teams. I don't want to get into an argument where they lie. His better days are behind him, in my opinion. I mean, what you see is what you get. I don't know why this guy even needs a push. He is what he is. He should be used to hold a mid-card level, get younger guys over. I like Elias, but I always wonder how far can he go with this gimmick. Right. He can speak. He can wrestle a little bit. He's got a good look. But I just don't know, smashing people with guitars.
How many times have we seen it already? How many times have we seen it? We've seen it for 30 years, man.
I'd like to see his gimmick advance a little bit. He certainly needs to win this feud, though, however it ends. Jeff Hardy does not need this win. He does. This guy has lost a ton in the past, however, 100 matches that Elias has had. I don't remember this guy. I mean, you thought a while back they were going to push him for a hot minute, and then he just started losing again. Yep. No interest in this match. Like you said, bad feud, bad story. Don't care about Jeff Hardy anymore.
The Miz and Otis. This whole thing set up Friday. They go to court. It's Wrestlers Court. It's a spoof off of Wrestlers Court with APA being judge and jury, just like in the old days when you could buy off JBL or The Undertaker, who is the judge, with a bottle of JD. They pay him off. He gets his match. Tucker turns. So now Miz is the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. The Miz, who has not been in the world title picture for how long? He is now in this, and you have a Tucker Otis feud. Kill me.
Look at all of this crap.
All of whatever Otis had when they got that Money in the Bank briefcase is completely gone. I mean, they had second thoughts on him. He is gone. Tucker cuts a promo. He says, Otis can't tie his shoes without me. We were supposed to be a team, but he was the star. I was an afterthought.
And he's supposed to be babyface.
Nick.
Yeah, I right out of the gate, I like the court thing. I thought that was halfway amusing.
I didn't mind it, to be honest.
I thought it was okay. I've never been a big fan of these possible lose your ticket to something matches. Like you won the Rumble, now you have to defend it at the next pay-per-view to see if you. I've never been. You won the Money in the Bank. Now it's up for grabs in the match.
Right.
I just don't like these matches. That was the whole purpose of that Money in the Bank match. I do believe it answers a question that I had when he won the match, which was, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
I didn't see anything in this guy. I didn't. Maybe there is. Maybe he could someday or something, but the current gimmick he has, the look he has, what he's selling, when he pulled down that Money in the Bank Money in the Bank contract this summer, I immediately thought, what are you going to do now?
Right.
This
and they've
guy
never
can't
even
be
teased. They've never even teased him. Like,
he can't be the champ. And they finally, I think maybe they're coming around. They booked themselves into a corner with putting that on him. Had to find a way to get it off him. I don't like now they put it back, like you said, on The Miz. This did not work last time. I will say this, The Miz, and I know you're not hot on him, I like him more than you. I think he's great in the tag team world. He has been put with several people who has really worked. Miz and the Big Show, Miz and R-Truth, Miz and Morrison. This guy could have, maybe stop aspiring to make him the main event. He could be this era's Billy Gunn, and I mean that in all due respect. A guy that just really runs
a tag
well
team
with
guy.
Tag team guy, I don't know. But yeah, I wasn't. I guess this is them throwing in the towel on Otis. I don't know.
For the time being, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a good finish because I didn't. When Morrison dropped the case, I started to think, oh, crap, Tucker's going to hit him with it, especially when he got escorted out. But I still was a little shocked when it actually happened. But
Right.
I don't want to see this feud. I don't care. Tucker has been very poorly built.
He hasn't been built at all. He's been defined down.
I don't want to see where this goes. I'm kind of just bummed on that. I don't want to see The Miz with the case. I didn't want to see Otis with the case this summer. I don't want to see Otis versus Tucker. There's a whole bunch I don't want to see here.
Right. I mean, and who knows what they're going to do with the case. There was a lot of people that thought Miz could cash it in tonight. Regardless of what they do, we're going to have shows ending now till he cashes it in, with him teasing nonstop that he's going to cash it in. And it's The Miz. Like, it was 10 years ago. It was WrestleMania 27. We are now on WrestleMania 37. He has not been in the main event picture since then. I know they need people, and that's the thing. We've complained numerous times how neither show has any main event guys. They have their champ and then a massive hole before you get to the next amount of people. So, I don't know who Roman's going to fight. I don't know who now Randy Orton's going to fight. I don't know, who there's nobody there. There's nobody built. So, I mean, I guess you throw The Miz at him. I don't know. But yeah, Miz. And we have a Tucker Otis feud coming. Awesome. We get back to the cage matches, and this probably is the match of the night. Sasha Bayley, they go 26 minutes. All these cage matches were very long. I think the Roman one was almost 40 minutes long. 30 minutes for the main event. This was a good match, though. Sasha wins. She is now a Grand Slam champion. Apparently, she had never been the Smackdown champ before. mentioned the feud going into this. I thought they did a terrible job booking this feud. This is a feud people have wanted to see for years and years and years. Look, actually, I had zero interest ever. Then this summer, they started to get me a little bit. But when they broke up, Bayley breaks up with her out of nowhere, out of completely nowhere. And then Sasha, still says that she's a heel. She's still acting like a heel. So now we have the two of them fighting each other where you're supposed to hate Bayley, but they haven't given me any reason to care for Sasha at all. I don't know. I just thought it was bad. Then all of a sudden, boom, we're in a Hell in a Cell. That being said, match is very good. Tons of good spots. It ends the 380-day reign for Bayley. Nick, you're nodding your head over there, man. You thought it was good too, huh?
Before I'll go, this is coming from someone who probably doesn't have the credentials to make this call. I fast forward 2 out of every 3 matches on Raw because they're just matches. I tend to watch all the pay-per-views if I can, the matches on those. I think this is going to get match of the year. I thought it was freaking awesome. I thought the moves were inventive. I thought they both murdered themselves one point on the stairs when they both took headshots on the corner to the stairs. I thought the vocals on this were great when they were talking to each other. I know it happens a lot. I thought some of these matches, though, this feud had gone back so far that I thought vocals were okay. The Roman match, they were okay. Maybe not needed in Jeff versus Elias. That's kind of where you don't use them. Use them in the big time.
They're good everywhere except they're doing them every match.
Yes. It looked like they were giving each other live rounds. They took insane bumps, their facial expressions. Sasha was selling her hatred, even all the way down to when she won the belt. She could not take her focus off of Bayley. I thought that was awesome. Thought the announcing bit it hard in this match and missed a lot of points that they could have sold. They could have really gotten over it. I mean, that monkey flip that she sent into the turnbuckle with the chair was just awesome. I thought, and I didn't hate the feud as much as maybe you did. I thought when I look at the feuds through this whole year, Roman still is going to go down as the top dog, but this has got to be the second best feud of the year. Not saying it's been a bad year, but if you look at all the other feuds this year, I did not like Rollins and Mysterio. That was a big feud. I thought that was just terrible.
Still going.
Anything with The Fiend has been, or Braun Strowman has been terrible. I thought this was this. I think, and I'm going to say it right now, I think Bayley gets Women's Wrestler of the Year. I think she has had the best year of all the women in the WWE. Certainly, I think better than Asuka. I think Asuka's boring as heck. There's been no what do you call Charlotte or no.
Well, that's about it because Bayley and Sasha have fought Asuka every week for 8 straight months.
I know, and again, it's been rough this year, but I love this match, man. I don't know. I didn't know, and you know what I thought was great too. Really into it. I didn't know who was going to win. That is a big key component to me. It was a big feud. I'm going match of the year. I thought it was definitely match of the night. I love this match. I would rewatch this match. I thought these two girls, ladies, were impressive as all heck in there, man. Sasha, she goes all out when she delivers a move. Bayley was throwing live rounds, like I said. Hey, what a wonderful match. If you didn't see this match or you were kind of in and out of it, I would highly recommend going back and watching this one.
I heard a couple people online say that too, that this was the match of the year. And I'm like, I'm going to have to think about that one. I thought the match was great, but there was 2 major things that took me out of this match. And I still think it's great. You mentioned there's twice she did sunset flips. She did a sunset flip and threw Bayley, I think it was, into the cage.
Yes.
Then Bayley comes back and does the sunset flip into the chair that was wedged between the turnbuckles. And Sasha is the best seller on the female side. Sometimes you don't know that she's selling. Like, she's probably really hurt because this girl takes ridiculous bumps all the time. But so she hits her into the chair there. At the beginning of this match, Bayley had her chair that was all spray painted and whatever, and I assume that's the chair that she beat the crap out of her with that set this whole feud up. Well, Sasha took it and threw it under the cage as the cage was coming down. So she didn't have her chair. And she's all worried about this chair the whole time. And then at the end of the match, kind of how she loses, she somehow gets the cage door open a little bit so she can get her super chair or whatever, this chair. There's like 8 other chairs in there, one of which she sunset flipped her into. What was that chair not good enough? Like,
Break his back, make him humble.
that completely, like, what is this chair made out of that you need that one so bad?
Just
Like, is this
symbolism,
like-
I guess, man. It didn't bother me as much. I could see how that might. Yeah, it was weird, but
like, is this one made out of like freaking super steel? What is that made of? Why do you need that one? So that kind of took me out of it. The other thing happens to be with the chair. This match ends with the bake statement around the chair. And everybody online is pooping their pants about, oh, that's a throwback to when they fought at TakeOver and they had their classic match. Yeah. Okay, great. Here's the thing. How does the bake statement hurt any worse when it's around a chair? It doesn't. Her arms are wrapped around her head. The chair isn't even touching her. Like, it's just visual. And what is that a throwback to? Like, oh, she was kicking her leg. Oh, your arms are wrapped around her head. That chair is not touching her.
I think she was kicking down on the chair to put pressure on the
She's
chair.
filling the chair. Like, there's no possible way that would hurt.
I think it's I guess it's like Bret Hart figure 4 around the pole. You know, I
guess.
I don't know. It was visual.
It's
I didn't
visual.
mind it. I thought it was a great match, and I thought it was a good finish. I thought you were
hated the finish.
I
The rest
thought you
of the
were
match
just
was
supposed to
great.
believe she was choking her with the chair.
Well, you're supposed to believe everything, but some of it's believable and some of it isn't.
Yeah.
The girl has filled the whole chair up. The chair can't go anywhere. There's nowhere for the chair to go. Plus, her arms are wrapped around her head. So kicking the seat of the chair into her face, it's not hitting her face. That was stupid. So for me,
Average your carpentry skills.
that takes away match of the year. Other than that, it was a fun match. Also, the slingshot into the kendo sticks that was set up, that was sweet too.
The whole thing, her running knee into her face on the cage was on. The sad thing, though, that I thought was actually the downside for me, this match should have taken place at WrestleMania. I don't know how they've scheduled it. This match will be forgotten. I mean, it might get wrestling. It could even get match of the year, but it's buried on some obscure pay-per-view
Right.
that no one's ever going to rewatch again. It's
When
not
there's
even on,
2 other cage matches
Yes.
on this show.
they should have scheduled this feud a little better, either climax at SummerSlam or climax at WrestleMania. Because that's the downside for me, that this match will fade into the annals of all the other Hell in the Cell
Right.
chamber matches, you know, that we've all forgotten and no one cares about.
Well, and dude, since you brought that up, I have that same thing written down here. We thought the beat down she took with the super duper chair that was outside the ring for most of the match, I thought she was going to be out till the Rumble, and then she would be a surprise entrant into the Rumble, or she would announce her comeback at the Rumble, win the Rumble, and then move on to WrestleMania. She's back in like 2 weeks.
That was
and
a
she has
mistake.
a neck brace around, and they set this up to this match. That didn't work for me, brother. Like, this all went way too quick. That ever since they broke up, I think this feud has sucked since they broke up.
It went way because it took them 10 years to break up.
Yes.
And then the actual breakup was so freaking condensed. It was
out
such
of nowhere.
A letdown.
Have we have completely jumped the shark here, have we not? On the Hell in the Cell, they were all good matches tonight. Don't get me wrong,
and that's also a problem too.
Yeah,
they're all good matches, so they all
blend together. And you can only do so many things. The last 2 years, the matches have not ended. They just stopped the match in a match that's supposed to be unstoppable. And we thought they were going to do that in the first one this year. Didn't happen. You're out of ideas here, man. I mean, and great bump today, but Drew McIntyre took the Shawn Michaels bump today from the very first ever Hell in a Cell. Mm-hmm. You know, I've seen dudes fly off the top of the cage, which is now even twice as big as it used to be back in the day. So now I'm not impressed at all when somebody falls 10 feet and lands on that table. I mean, you're out of ideas here. And when you have to have 3 of the same match on the same night, you're definitely out of ideas. I think it's time we like put this on moratorium and maybe not have a Hell in a Cell match for 3 to 5 years here. Be done.
And when you're saying out of ideas, it's I think people should know we're saying for creative. This is going to be a nightmare for anybody on creative trying to write this pay-per-view. And that's again why I'm giving so much credit to Sasha and Bayley. Because that, to me, was such an innovative match with the things that they came up with or whoever came up with them. It was awesome. But, yeah, it just – how do you write these things? It's the same as the Rumble. You see things happen in the earlier Rumble, and then they happen again in the second Rumble. You know, and you're just – I just saw this. There's only so much you can do on these gimmick pay-per-views, and now you're overloading every pay-per-view and doing 2, 3, 4 of the same style matches, and it's just I'm going to talk about that later too. I fell asleep in the last one a little bit. I caught myself dozing just because I was sick of Hell in a Cell, and it was a really good match.
Yeah, well, and the thing is too with these, and they were all good matches. But did any of them really need the cell? Did they do anything that you couldn't have done without the cell? Like Sasha Bayley, I mean, yeah, they did some sweet moves, but like the finish didn't come down to the cell. Because you had 80 other chairs. She wins with the magic chair. The thing with Roman didn't need to be. That could have just been an I Quit match. It didn't need to be on this cell. The cell had nothing to do with how that match finished.
The tribal chief.
Or what happened. It had nothing to do with it. Anyway, speaking of 5-star matches, in the back, we have the Hurt Business cutting a promo for some reason. They say they want to fight Retribution. They say Lashley will put the U.S. title on the line. Shelton says, yeah, let's have him fight. They don't care who they fight. Fight somebody. Shelton says, have him fight the one with the stupid mask. And they all look at him like, what, bro? Yeah, okay. Have him fight the one they call Slapjack.
That jabroni brown blood.
Which I don't know which one is which. So anyway, they fight. We don't even need to talk about how stupid Retribution is, let alone
Are they the
worst
faction of all time?
They might be the worst faction. Apparently, we do need to talk about how stupid they are. They may be the worst faction that received a monster push for like a second. Because there's been other bad faction. I mean, there was
There
one
has, but,
faction
I mean,
called
these guys
the
haven't
Job
won.
Squad. That was they were literally called the Job Squad.
But
And then
the
you had the B
$1
team.
million, what I was thinking, just of like when wrestling was bad, the $1 million corporation's better than these guys.
Oh gosh, way better.
I would even say right now the Dungeon of Doom is better than these guys.
They had the Giant. They had one
right,
dude.
and right there, one guy is one more than these guys have.
Yeah.
So I mean, they haven't won yet.
They have not won.
Mean, this is terrible. I'm almost starting to think that WWE has seen their mistake, and are these guys just a job faction?
I mean, that's the way they have been treated since like the third night, when people just completely turned on it and they realized they booked themselves into a wall here. But yeah, and this isn't helping though, because I think people somewhat think the Hurt Business is kind of cool, like they like what they're doing, but it's heels against heels. Who are we cheering for here? You've got these people that are supposedly taking over the world, and then you got the Hurt Business who just beat people up. Like, who am I cheering for? Why do I care? It was so bad, and it was over in 5 seconds. But my gosh, can these guys just go away?
Lashley. I like Lashley.
Yeah, I mean, they have finally found something for him that works. He's just a big dude who brings it.
Yep.
And that's what he should be.
Yep.
And MVP does a good job as his mouthpiece. He does a good job.
I'll give him credit. The Hurt Business is better than I thought it would be when they started. They're again, I'm not saying they're great. I'm not saying anything like that, but they're at least a decent little clique that works. Far better than Retribution. I hope they win this feud. I hope they squash Retribution, and that's the end of it. Would be awesome.
I don't know how you just don't take them off TV. Just make them go back. And they all got masks on except for poor Ali. Just put them all back on NXT and forget this ever even happened. I mean, that's what AEW does. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you're the bunny. No, you're not. You're Ali. Wait, no, you're the bunny again. Wait, you're the Nightmare Collective. And
Nightmare Collective never existed.
No, that never happened. Main event. Another 30-minute match. Good match. But it was a little slow in the middle of it. As you said, you fell asleep.
Wasn't bad, Ryan. It was just the third Hell in the Cell.
Right.
I mean, it was just at this point, what can you do? And they did a good job. When I say what can you do, they went and made it different a little bit than the other cells by going up on top. But I mean, it was just another Hell in the Cell. But it was good. It was a good match.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. Little talking in there. The biggest spot was Drew doing the Shawn Michaels bump, as we mentioned, from the middle of the cage onto the announce table. For some reason, Randy just kind of let him get back, crawl back into the ring. I don't know why he did that. But the biggest thing out of this whole thing was Randy wins clean as day. He just straight up misses the Claymore kick, RKO, 1, 2, 3, Randy Orton, the biggest heel on your shows, is the champ for the 14th time. What do you think about that? Because there's been a lot of talk that maybe Randy would win clean as day. I did not see that happening.
I think they did it to set up another one, because we were talking about this several of our last shows. What do you do after this is over?
Right.
I think we got our answer. It's not ending.
Ugh.
We're gonna take this another pay-per-view because we don't have anybody else for Drew McIntyre to fight.
Right.
We have not developed any other characters. We don't have anybody else. I mean, are we going to put him against Braun Strowman? That's who I'm guessing comes in for the Rumble at a shot at the title, whoever has it, or Orton or McIntyre. But they don't have anybody, and I think that's what we got. that we're extending this feud. Good match. Again, yeah, it was a clean finish. I mean, you could now argue both guys have beat each other clean. But they did mention first pin, first time McIntyre's been pinned all year.
Right.
I just think they're out of ideas, Ryan. I don't think they have an opponent for Drew McIntyre for the next month, much less WrestleMania. I don't know what they're going to do with this guy.
Yeah, well, and that's still 6 months away, but
right.
I mean, dude, I don't want to see these two fight again. I mean, this has been going on a couple of months now, and it hasn't been bad or anything, but I don't want to see him fight again. And I would fully expect McIntyre to be the champ going into WrestleMania. But with this company, you never know what they're going to do. So, I mean, go back to 33. When Cena's the champ, he loses to Bray Wyatt out of nowhere at the Hell in the Cell, and then Randy Orton fights him for no reason for the championship. Like, I don't know what they're going to do. I have no idea. And that we got a long way to go to get there. But, yeah, I mean, who could be opponents? You mentioned Braun. Braun coming off getting murdered by Roman Reigns, now is on Raw. He beats Keith Lee and hands Keith Lee his first pinfall loss in relatively short time on Monday night. Keith Lee, who they have not developed whatsoever, but he's done nothing but fight in main event matches, and he has a win over Randy Orton. Could that be? But he just lost. So I don't know what they're doing. You had Keith Lee just lose, and you just had Braun lose within the last week. And I don't think anybody on earth has any interest in seeing Braun fight Randy Orton.
And, well, now we're kind of caught in the weird place because we're heading into the Survivor Series pay-per-view, which usually is a brand split pay-per-view, you know, where the Fiend is now going to pretend to care about Raw, right. Because he's now the drafted there, and he feels sympathy for his workplace. But I mean, did they do that so we don't get, you know what, Ryan? I didn't even think about this. Is it so we don't get Roman Drew?
It could be, but once again, if you get Orton and Roman, heel.
Well, not only that, if Roman beats Orton, and then Roman has already beat Drew,
right? That
kind of still takes away from I mean, I don't like the title versus title
stupid
idea anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, you're defining one champion down. You're saying, well, he's the real champ,
right?
This is a good pay-per-view. I would definitely recommend it. Outside of there was 3 throwaway matches, but the 3 big matches were good. I
think right now in this era of wrestling, that's about what we can hope for. Because we have not seen a complete card in WWE for 15 years or so now.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can watch the whole card and say, yeah, that was just top to bottom amazing. I thought it was a good pay-per-view overall.
The thing about this is, I'm going to say something, though. As good as those matches were, and as good as the Sasha Bayley match was, and even though I didn't like the way this feud has gone the last month, the biggest reason why those matches were good is because they meant something. They all had a huge feud, every single one of them, and they had a feud people were invested in. Maybe the main event less than the others, but people are invested in Roman now. People are definitely, for years, going back to NXT, have been invested in Sasha against Bayley. So it wasn't just the match. They could have been fighting in a treehouse match. I think people would have liked them because they're invested in these characters.
At least even Otis versus The Miz, as bad as we say everything went, there was a story there.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it's better. I mean, you look, the one we really had the problem with was Elias and Hardy.
Right.
because there isn't a story there. It's a
Well, there is. It's just stupid. Doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I'll give it to you. I'd rather have a bad feud than no feud than just a match.
Right.
At least I got something to go on, why this guy hates this guy or why this girl has an issue with this girl. I rather have that.
Yeah. Well, shockingly good show. That said, I don't need to see Hell in a Cell again in a year. Like I said, you could have put Roman. They could have been fighting in Pensacola, Florida, on the beach at Sika's house in their old tree house, and that match would have been sweet. It wouldn't have mattered.
And I think if you're going to do multiple Hell in a Cells like this, they should resort, and I know me and you are biased, any other time of the year, if it is a cage match, it needs to be the Blue Bard. If they're going to do it. Because if you're going to do 3 on this one show, it should be contained to the one show, at least. I don't want – you can't have these offshoots and any other kind of cagey match like that. If you have another steel cage match, use the Blue Bars. It'll set it apart from this Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, and there's so many people that don't like the Blue Bars for whatever reason nowadays. I don't know what that is. I'll go to my death saying, what hurts worse? A cage? A fence? We've all had chain link fences or been to a friend's house that has them. You've probably run into it or pushed it or done something. Or a giant metal bar. Which one's going to hurt when you run into it? I'm going with the giant blue bar. Well, I'm definitely interested to see what they do.
Me too.
I'm interested to see what Orton does. So I'll give him that because maybe I wouldn't have been as interested if McIntyre would have just won. I probably wouldn't have been as interested to watch Raw tomorrow night. So I'll give him that. And hopefully we don't get the blue versus red brand coming up. Anything else, Nick?
Not that I can say. I just really hats off to the Sasha Bayley match. I really enjoyed it. I thought that was so inventive. I'm not the biggest fan of this generation of wrestling in general, but that match was awesome.
Well, she has been, too, in all of her Hell in the Cells. I think they said she's been in 3, if I remember correctly, and they've all been good. The girl can sell, man. She's the female Ziggler, Shawn Michaels. She takes some risks that worry you a lot, but she can go.
Yes, and the last 2 pay-per-views, good news, we haven't hated them.
Right,
so,
no.
I mean, this it's watchable. It's better than watching the middle-aged Bucks and Marco needs a growth stunt. And, so whoever else on the other show weighing in at 203 pounds.
If you would eat a medium well steak or a medium rare steak or a rare steak, maybe you could get over that 200-pound mark.
And I'm hoping they turn it around on that show on AEW too, because they have just went downhill and they've went downhill real fast. But because the WWE seems to be picking up traction right now. I mean, they've got like you said, I'm interested in the belts. Closing, I was shocked too. Where was Big E? We're supposed to be getting this big push with Big E. I feel like maybe they left him off on purpose, but he's another thing I'm watching in wrestling now. I mean, the WWE, in the first time in a long time, and I'm not saying great, I'm saying it's going in the right direction. There's several things I'm interested in watching right now. Nothing that's going to make me put the pedal to the metal if I'm 5 minutes away and Raw starts in 2. Right. There's nothing that's going to make me floor it to get home, but I'm interested in Roman. I'm interested in this Drew McIntyre Orton, why they put the belt on him. The Sasha Bayley, it was a great match. I'm curious to see where they go. I want to see Big E and how they develop him. So there's a lot to look forward to right now for wrestling fans, I think.
I would think E is going to get that rocket strapped on him, like, starting this week. I mean, if he is going to be a main event type dude at Mania, they got to start rolling here. So I would expect that soon.
I still don't. I'm fingers crossed Kofi and E at WrestleMania. I want to see Kofi as a bad guy.
I'd love that. I would
love to see heel Kofi.
We've been calling for that for years and years, my man. All right, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Great job by the WWE tonight, and we will be back next time there's some news or a pay-per-view or anything else. Stay tuned. Thanks. See ya.
Pleasure's all yours, Bucky boys.